Okay, this here is my gaming PC slash console. So it's a small little mini RTX case, Node 202. Inside here is a Ryzen 3200G with a GeForce RTX 3070, and I'm gonna have to take everything out from it so that I can put this in a 5800X. Oh boy, I just hope I don't damage anything when I'm doing this. Okay, I'm trying to even remember how I was able to get this in the first place, so I'm gonna have to... There's like a very tiny gap between the casing, the fans, and there's even a power cable there, so I'm gonna have to pull it out and then push it out before I can even lift the card out of the bay. Exactly what was the problem with this thing? Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Gently rock the card out from the riser. So I have to be careful about the riser itself. Is this piece blocking anything? No, it's not. Okay. So gently just check the card out from the slot. Okay. And here we go. Okay. Video cards extracted. So I was very lucky to get this right when all the scalping started. So now this card is worth like 3 times more than what I paid for it. Oh wow. And of course it's very important since it's a cornerstone of this thing being able to be used as a game console. So here are my two main casing fans. So they are basically just two slim fans. These are sucking air into the case. These are not exhaust fans. They are sucking air into the case to do some, I guess that's positive pressure into the case so that the air will want to flow out from the case somewhere else through the top, hopefully. Let's remove the fan from the cooler. So this is the cooler is a Noctua low profile cooler, but I swapped the fan so that instead of the standard low profile fan, this is now the taller fan. Why was the screw not screwed in? I thought I screwed it in the other day. Okay. So I swapped it for the normal high fan instead of the ultra slim one, since the case could support it. And of course having a bigger fan is better. And at the same time, the fan is blowing down onto the heatsink. So that's supposed to be more efficient. Okay, it's time to do the heart transplant. Lift. Extract, and there's my mark. There's my mark. Okay, it's in. Mark is in. Mark is correct. Okay. Transplant complete. Okay, so this is the thing that surprises me the most about this build and this cooler. Okay, so you can see that there are no guiding springs or anything for the thing. For the cooler, it's just this plate where the screws go through the hole and it comes out through the motherboard. So even in the installation guide, what they tell you to do is basically, you know what, just put the somehow put the cooler on the chip, then turn it upside down and start screwing in this plate. It's just it's really ridiculous. I really don't get it. At one point I was thinking maybe I should just put the thermal paste on the cooler itself so I can just seat it down and then I will just press it into the CPU anyway. But I guess the thermal paste is a bit gooey, so it doesn't matter. I can hold it upside down for a while before putting it in. Okay. So yeah, this is going to be fun. It was really funny when I did it the last time, and here I am doing it again. Hopefully I don't screw up. So we'll use the Noctua thermal paste that came with the fan. How do I pull this thing out? Do I just pull it out? Okay. Do I pull this out or do I turn it? There's a screw on it. We'll just see. Okay, I'm being befuddled by a tube of thermal paste. That's funny. There are screw holes on it. There are threads on the tube, but I think that's just because it's a normal syringe. But I can't seem to pull it out. Am I supposed to turn or pull? Seriously, I'm being bested by a tube of thermal paste. I can't believe it. Oh, I am supposed to turn it. Okay. Okay. So thermal paste pattern. I will go with the X pattern. It's knocking it in the side of the syringe. Well, okay. It's definitely going to smear a little bit because because of the way that I had to put the heatsink onto it. So here we go, heatsink. Flip. I am going to point the nuts into here, so when I flip it over, I want these things to be pointing in this direction, so flip. Yep, okay. I'll get the plate ready. screwdriver ready. So don't worry, I'm gonna use a manual mode to drive the screws in. I am crazy, but I'm not that crazy. Yep, definitely can feel the thing smearing around. Hopefully enough of it is still in the right position. Really, I have to ask, is there a better way to do this? Because there's just so much guesswork figuring this out. Not to mention when you put this in, so the instructions say, look, turn it 3 turns. 3 turns. 1, 2. I can't even get 3. Okay, let me see. Oh dear, it's unbalanced. It is unbalanced. I screwed up a bit. Okay, so I'm gonna unscrew everything in. Okay, so now I remember I can't screw everything tightly immediately. I have to basically slowly go in. Slowly. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There's just so much magic. So the idea is probably that we want to get an even distance between the heatsink and all the screws, so that the heatsink is on the processor like evenly. But seriously, was there not a better way to do this? I still see one of the legs being a bit out. I mean, it's deeper than the other, but I mean, I don't see any gaps on the CPU. It does seem like it's making good contact. It doesn't need to be tight. Just needs to be flat. And it does seem to be flat. Okay. Okay, I guess that's okay. Okay, so there was a slight scare just now when I think there was something wrong. The riser didn't sit in properly, but I pulled it out and plugged it back in again, and well, it seems to be fine now. So that's that. At least there doesn't seem to be, everything seems to be running properly. So now all that's left is for me to close it up and cable manage it properly. And the 3D Mark just crashed. Interesting. So after running a few more tests, but after I closed up the machine, I realized that the system was crashing whenever the 3D card was accessed. So at first I thought, great, I got a dud when I'm doing the upgrade, but actually then I remembered something. See, the Note 202 requires a PCI Riser to connect the video card, and the 3070 and the Ryzen 5800X, so they all support PCI Gen4, but of course the Riser I have in the Note 202 doesn't support PCI Gen4. It's basically a PCI Gen3, so that's actually causing problems. And in order to fix that, we need to go into the BIOS, and it will be different for every BIOS, so you're gonna have to check out if what's wrong, which setting you need to go to depending on your machine if you're also having this problem. But on my Gigabyte, I think what was this motherboard? This motherboard was a Gigabyte X57 Aorus X570i Wi-Fi, yes. So it's under settings, miscellaneous, and I can just come here and you can see PCI X16 slot configuration. And normally it'll be under auto, but we don't want that. We want to lock it to Gen 3, and of course the PCIe slot mode as well, lock it to Gen 3. And once you have that, that will fix the issues with your 3D or 3070 running on your Ryzen 5800X, or basically anything that needs PCI Gen 4 and you have a riser, because PCI Gen 4 risers are very expensive. Very, very, very expensive. Ugh. Okay, so here's how the thing looks in the end. So yeah, I didn't actually manage to cable manage much because I thought, well, it's a jumble of wires. I can't tie it down anywhere anyway. So once again, the build list. This is a Zotac Dual H 30 RTX 3070 and FSP Dagger Pro 650 watts. And of course, a Noctua L9A modified with a 25mm high fan. So now I switched it back to the exhaust position so that it can actually suck air out of the casing, because I was trying, because it was running a bit hot, even though it's not thermal throttling, when I was pushing the air down into the CPU, but I decided to just do a pool configuration to see if it was any better, but it was basically the same. So this thing, while the CPU is running hot, again, it's not thermal throttling, it's fine, so I'm not losing performance there. Okay, so if you're wondering about the monitor, this is actually a G-Story touchscreen USB travel monitor, so it's touch capable. And yes, it only does 1080p 60, but as you can see, I don't actually have a very big table here, so I already had this monitor from previously, and when I found this stand, this is actually some sort of tablet stand, I realized that I could hold the monitor on it, and of course I could also hang this stand off of the computer using I was using zip ties initially, but of course I just 3D printed a sort of removable bracket to just hold the thing down so that it can hang off the casing. So I decided, yep, this works for me. At least it means that I can just have a monitor here. Initially, I was just constantly unplugging and replugging this monitor, and well, that got a bit annoying. And then the other piece of equipment here is this. This is a Raspberry Pi 4 running the Marauderz PC monitoring software. So I wouldn't call it monitoring software, it's more like a HUD software. So this thing connects to the computer wirelessly through Wi-Fi, and it unlike other kind of monitoring systems, it doesn't use a HDMI port. It's basically just another networked machine. So yeah, the temperature is running a bit hot. And this thing is held on by magnets right onto the center column. This is the center portion of the case, so there's nothing in there that the magnets should affect. Okay, so this is Marauderz, and this is my console, my PS5 size game console replacement. And I will see you all in the next video. You know, maybe the CPU is thermo throttling because it reaches 91 degrees and just flattens. So, well, that's on CPU load. The GPU testing wise, it doesn't peak that much, it's just running at 72 degrees. Well, it's a small air-cooled case. It works. It works fine for me. Okay, so this is Marauderz. I will see you all in the next video.